what I want to ask is, because again, we are used to relate to each other, right? To our families, to the societies, even like to like our friends, like to the books that we read, to our learnings. So I know, as we were talking before, how hard it was for the both of us to just kind of turn inward, and this was a challenge. So I would like to ask you, how can people actually tune within themselves more? And how important is for them to rely more on themselves, as we talked the previous days, and to let go of the exterior conditioning again?
It is crucial to move forward with. So unless you really tune inwards, you will not be able to move forward. And that is the truth. And I know it sounds harsh, and this is not to create fear or anything. This is simply the truth. Your inner world is going to now become more important than ever before. And we are coming from a time when we were used to use secret guidance from outside authorities, right? Yeah. So whether that is the system, whether that is our parents before, the generations of our parents, and whether that even is in our own lives, we were always looking for someone to tell us what we need to do. And we were trusting outside influence more than ourselves. How many times have you or me, we had an intuition, we knew something, but then we still asked someone else just in case our intuition was a bit, Exactly. So, and this is changing. Our inner knowing has to become so rock solid. And I'm not speaking the inner knowing that is based on an illusion, because people still have a hard time to distinguish. You see, an inner knowing and the inner truth, they are neutral. And this is what I always say. Why we call the truth shocking? Because in the first instant, when someone provides you with truth, whether the truth is perceived as negative, like, for example, some bad news you receive, right? Or something positive, in the first instant, you are shocked because your body is registering the truth frequencies and it's neutral. You're not going to feel anything in this moment. You will just be like this. But then instantly the emotions start kicking in, your processing starts kicking in, and then also what you do with that starts kicking in. But the first instant is always the shock. It's the truth. So the moment we can live in a state of neutrality, that's the moment we are actually in the pure state of innocence where we came from. And that's not the neutrality where we don't care about something. It's the neutrality where we are not identified or attached to things in order to create a meaning for ourselves. It's when we are actually free. And when we can truly love and relate to each other in a pure way. So I hope that answers it in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you talk a lot about the human design as well, concepts about the new era. And that we are always talking about it. So I would like us to touch a little bit up on that. So again, I'm hearing we are going through this like global initiation. And what I want to ask first, how important it is for us to be connected with our own spirituality, and how we can distinguish between true spirituality and false spirituality, false light. And let's start with this, and after I'm going to ask you, because I feel like there is a lot to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, you see, spirituality and being connected to it is essential. Now, some people say, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious, whatever. First and foremost, everyone is spiritual because everyone comes from source. Whether you are calling yourself spiritual, religious, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So the difference is only, are you connected to it? Are you practicing it for yourself? So that is the only difference. You cannot not be spiritual, right? So you are connected to source, which makes you spiritual automatically. So people need to also learn that it's not possible to not be spiritual, right? Moving forward, though, when we look at spirituality, how many teachings have you seen out there? How many podcasts maybe have you watched and observed that rang true at a certain time, but don't now?
Yeah, a lot.
Right? So a lot of people, including myself, I used to follow back then people, not really necessarily strongly, but there were a few people I like to follow, I like to learn. Today, I don't relate to them. And it's not because they are wrong or something was bad. It's simply I realized that certain teachings, even back then, didn't relate to me. I did not understand them. I didn't need them. For me, it sounded nice, but I wasn't able to apply it into my life. And that's also because the new era that is coming has always been planned. It's not something new, right? So whatever we call the opposite of that light had an agenda, because they knew it was coming. It cannot be stopped. So what does an agenda mean? A lot of the light and the teachings have been inverted. And that's what we call the false light teachings. So either they are not complete or they're based on half-truths and they make others dependent on them. First and foremost, true spirituality is not being dependent on anything, not on a system, not on a teaching, but to be aligned with yourself, to walk in an embodied sovereign state with yourself, leading from your own inner authority, trusting your own decisions, and not what somebody else tells you. So a lot of the teachings made people more confused than it was necessary. Like I remember like a lot of the manifestation stuff, it used to make me crazy. And I always somehow knew it can't be right. Like if it was really working in the way they say it, why isn't everyone in it?
Yeah.
Right? It just didn't feel right. And today I understand, because look, when you have a lot of karmic contracts still to play out and karmic imprints, you can do all the manifestations in the world. It's not going to work for you, because it has to be still paid off, especially if they are financial, aka ancestral. And I know it from my own experience.
Yeah.
So back in the days, I would get small results, and maybe you would get, let's say if it's money, you would get the money, but somehow it would go. You wouldn't be able to keep it. And ever since I paid off my karmic debt in that sense, like literally karmic, suddenly the manifestations triple work. They speed up. I understand why. And it's not that people do things wrong. It's that certain factors influence whether and how you can manifest, right? And like if you imagine, manifestation happens naturally when you are in an aligned state. A lot of people don't even consciously do manifestation.
Yeah, it's true.
It's an overused word, honestly, like many others. But it's just a word where people are now relating to. You don't need tools and techniques. You just need to be aligned with your field and learn how to command it. You don't need to sit there and do 30 days rituals to manifest something or write it down 30 times a day. It might help your mental process, but we are moving away from that. So now when I listen to some of the things, I can see clearly why it wasn't working. Yes, karmic contract's one reason, but the other one was it was inverted. A lot of it was. So now for me, it's very easy from my energetic field to align, and manifestations happen very fast. And this is just one example of a lot of things. So, and it's through the energetics, it's not even us consciously actually, more and more people will start to move away from certain things, from certain people they might have followed, them, some teachings they might have listened to or practiced themselves, because something in their field is no more resonating with that, and they won't be able to explain it.
I see. So I want to ask you something like an embodiment expert, an energetics coach, right? What would you say that will be that thing that will make you feel like someone is for you when it comes to mentors, when it comes to coaches, like someone that really can support you? How can you define that in these new times?
Resonance, pure coherence. We used to find mentors, seek friends, seek partners, pretty much everything from a very mental state, but also from a state of common belief systems, common cultures, right? Common interests. This is how we were usually building friendships and finding partners and finding mentors. Like, oh, this person, I like how they talk. I like how they look. I like what they say. Let me go there. The first thing for you to find a mentor in anything you want to do, this mentor has to be embodied, which means they have to talk and walk at the same time. You have to feel that they are living and breathing what they're saying and what they're teaching. And they should never be the one that tells you what to do. A true mentor in this new energetics will always guide you back to yourself, and they will do it through proper questions. So I know exactly what I need to ask you to get you there. They'll do it through transmissions. They might do it also through somatic practices. There are different ways, but it will always guide you back to yourself. The moment someone comes with a 3 methods, formula, 3 steps to do whatever, forget it. You will feel it. Now, if you are still, let's say, someone that needs that, then those kind of mentors, they will work for you. But the more you go up in consciousness, and this is not what's better or what's worse, this is simply what is aligned with you, the less you will resonate with those 3-step formulas. You will want someone that guides you back to yourself through remembrance. It's all about remembrance. So first, are they embodied? Second, the field. I've noticed it a lot in my life. I removed myself from a lot of friends and groups that the resonance simply wasn't there anymore. And it was not me as Anita saying, oh, I don't like this person anymore, I need to go away. No, it was the field literally collapsed it. Like,
I love that. You always talk about it. And at the beginning was like, how can you collapse the field? What even that means? So can you talk more about it?
Yeah, so the field basically decides this is not coherent, this is not in alignment with you, it has to go. It's not you mentally deciding that. So we need to understand that it's new energetics, the energy is going to take the lead. That's why you need to understand the energy and move with it, right? So this is why nothing that is anymore aligned with you can stay.
Is this, like when you say the field, are you referring to the light body? Because there are a lot of names that we give to things, right? And exercises and practices. So what is actually really the field for the people that never heard about it, maybe? And how can they connect with their field? And how can they collapse things, as you say?
So basically your field, yes, it is your auric body.
Okay.
But it's also the grid. For me, the field is also the grid, right? So basically the grid contains different timelines, different potentials of the timelines, and your field is connected through the coding to different timelines at different times. Okay, time here on Earth is a real thing.
Yeah.
Not up there, but for us it is. When people say there is no time, it's partially true. However, there is time here and things happen in a time. However, it doesn't mean, okay, 3 o'clock, the timeline collapses. It means she is in alignment. She is ready. Let's go.
Okay.
And it's done again through the field. So the field is basically what governs everything, right? It's what governs the new times, the new consciousness level and how we operate. So it's not something malicious. It's not something that controls you, but it's part of our complete infrastructure. It's the part that governs everything, and especially the more we move forward. So when you become one with your field, it's almost like you can imagine you're standing in a room, an empty room, nobody there. And when you close your eyes and you start breathing, you can literally, if not visualize it, because some people have issues visualizing it, but you can imagine, maybe you can feel it more, you can feel the field around you. You literally can. It's buzzing. It's also when you rub your hands, you can feel it here.
The
vibration, right? And you can even open your hands like the Michelangelo picture, right? You can open your legs and arms and stand like this. You will feel the field around you. And that is your field. That is your personal field.
I see. So is this connected with what we will call our chakras? And I know that you wanted to talk about our power center.
Power centers.
Right?
Yeah, it is. Everything is connected. So nothing works as a separate organism, right? Everything is interconnected with the other. It's our morphogenetic field. The chakras play an important role in that sense, in that they regulate the energy system within our body. And that's why it is important, right? So when we speak of transformation and of collapsing the timelines, you cannot collapse the timelines if your power centers, which I will go to in a moment what they are misaligned. You can only do that when you are yourself in an aligned, coherent state. Because otherwise you don't know what the hell you're collapsing and what is happening, because you are not the conscious, you're not intentional with it, right? So we have our chakra system. What we call the 3 power centers are our root, our sacral, and our solar plexus. And in human design, we are undergoing the mutation of the solar plexus right now. So that's a biggie. It's our willpower, right? Sun, solar plexus. How we shine as well in the world, but it's also our emotional body, right? Solar plexus governs our emotions. So they're called power centers because they store our emotions, but they also store the karmic imprints, the trauma, ancestral trauma included. So when those power centers are out of balance, are still encoded with a lot of debris, they are not functioning in the optimum resonance. And then what happens, the heart gate, so the heart never blocks. I don't even know where we have the saying from the heart chakra blocks. The heart is always open, but the heart functions as a gate. So when those three are not properly in alignment, the energy flow from the root cannot go freely up through the heart to reach the throat and the third eye, because the throat and the third eye are spiritual centers. And they cannot process negative emotions. So this is why the heart doesn't close. It just inhabits a little bit the flow. It cannot fully flow. That's why when we are having a traumatic event in our life or we are holding on to difficulties, we have an issue speaking up.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, or when something is really difficult for us, like sometimes we either don't speak, we shake, we can't swallow properly. And that's because especially the womb is connected to the throat. And so when we clean up those things, when the root obviously is our safety, is how safe and how held we feel by life as well, not just by ourselves, but by life. Do you feel held and safe by life? It's also our material existence, because we are in a material world. So food, shelter, safety, security, Maslow pyramid are the baseline of everything. It's also our connection to Pachamama, to the womb of the earth, right? It's all happening here in the womb space. And then the sacral is our sexual energy, is our creation. The most powerful energy in the world is sexual energy. And that's also the one that's most corrupted. It's our center of creativity and of creation. Everything is birthed there. So when we have distortion in that place, when we don't honor this energy, then we have an issue expressing ourselves truly and fully, right? And then the solar, emotional mismatch, emotional dysfunction. When we are not able to express emotions, when we are afraid to express emotions, or when we are wildly expressing our emotions that don't make any sense actually, and not logically, I'm speaking in our body, because we have trained the emotional body to overreact and to not feel safe or to suppress. So it's not about one or the other. It's about finding the balance in both, because they're both pulling on the same string. And then once we do that, those power centers start properly rotating in the right direction that they have to rotate. And then the flow of energy can, like a water, like if you close the dam, the water is not going to move through. When you start opening the dam, the water moves. And so your energy inside your system is aligned. You start to feel safe within your body. And when you start feeling safe within your body, you're safe within your being, within your decisions. You trust your knowing. You live in your own inner truth. And you move like this in the world. You don't move anymore out of fear, out of control, out of protection. You know you're safe.
Yeah.
And then also the way, the grace that you give yourself, it's the same grace you extend to other people, because you stop being judgmental towards yourself. You stop beating yourself up for the smallest things. And when you do that for you, can you imagine the grace you extend other people?
Yeah, I see.